Chosen one, you did not stumble into this moment. Heaven scheduled this encounter long before your eyes ever saw the title. Something in your spirit was pulled here, drawn by a timing so precise it could only come from God. This is not coincidence. This is divine appointment. You are standing at the threshold of a supernatural shift, a holy turning point where the journey from nothing to abundance begins to unfold. Anointed one, the space you are entering is charged with destiny. The air around you is thick with prophetic movement. What has been locked up is about to be released. What has been delayed is about to accelerate. And what has been withheld is now being commanded into your hands. For as it is written in Jeremiah 1:5, before you were formed, God already knew you, appointed you, and marked you for greatness. You may have walked through seasons of lack, obscurity, or spiritual exhaustion, but those were only the proving grounds for the elevation now rising in your direction. Chosen one, prepare yourself. A wealth transfer is unfolding. A divine elevation is drawing near. Heaven is opening its books concerning you. This is the moment where small becomes mighty and hidden becomes undeniable. Your billionaire journey begins now. Chosen one, as you step into this moment, I need you to understand something deep in your spirit. Nothing about your journey has been random. Nothing you survived was meaningless. The very places where you felt forgotten, empty, or overlooked have become the soil where heaven is now planting abundance. I say this not as theory, but as someone who has walked through my own nights of uncertainty, my own seasons where faith felt thin and hope felt far away. I remember days when I had nothing to show for the seeds I had sown, when every door seemed locked and every prayer felt suspended in the unseen. But even then, something inside whispered, hold on. Not because circumstances made sense, but because God never wastes a breaking and chosen one. He has never wasted yours either. There is a shift happening around you, quiet but undeniable. You may not see it with natural eyes yet, but your spirit feels it. It feels the pull of something greater, the stirring of something holy, the kind of movement that only happens when heaven decides it is time. This is not imagination. This is alignment. The season where you survived on crumbs is giving way to a season where you will steward overflow. I know what it's like to stand in that in-between place where part of you believes and part of you fears that you're hoping for too much. But the anointed ones always feel the next level before it arrives. They sense the door before it opens. They feel the wind of change before the clouds even shift. And chosen one, heaven has placed a wind at your back. What felt like stillness was actually set up. What looked like lack was training. What you called delay was divine timing, stretching your capacity so that when abundance comes, you won't kernel, lapse under the weight of it. The journey from nothing to overflow always begins in hidden places where faith has to grow roots long before harvest becomes visible. I've lived this. I've watched God take the most unlikely moments and the smallest yeses and turn them into chapters I never expected to walk into. So when I tell you the billionaire journey begins now, I am not speaking of greed or earthly striving. I am speaking of divine positioning, the kind of elevation that comes from purpose, not pride, from calling, not competition. Chosen one, heaven is not preparing you to simply earn. Heaven is preparing you to steward, to carry what others fumble, to build what others abandon, to influence what others compromise. Your journey has felt heavier because your assignment carries weight. Your wilderness was deeper because your calling stretches further. There were people who walked beside you for a moment but could not stay because the anointing on your life requires a kind of clarity not everyone can withstand. And yes, it hurt to lose them. Yes, it felt personal, but in truth, it was protection. Some doors had to close gently so that bigger ones could open without interference. You've walked through seasons where it seemed like the oil on your life dried up, where prayers echoed, where progress stalled. I have been there too. I know what it feels like to stand in front of your own reflection and wonder if God still remembers your name. But chosen one, he never forgot. Even in silence he was writing. Even in stillness he was building. Even in confusion he was clearing the path for where you're going now. And where you're going is not small. It is not ordinary. It is not manageable without heaven's hand. That's why the wilderness lasted longer than you expected. That's why the crushing felt intense. Oil only flows after pressing. Glory only rises after surrender. Wealth only multiplies after obedience. And now that obedience is speaking, heaven has released a decree over your life. A shift that cannot be reversed. What once felt locked is loosening. What once felt distant is drawing near. Opportunities are rearranging themselves around your name. People you've never met are being positioned to speak in rooms you have not yet entered. Systems are preparing to respond to the authority God placed on your life before your first breath. You are not stepping into chance. You are stepping into orchestration. Everything is aligning for a reason larger than your understanding. Chosen one. There is a supernatural transfer underway, not just of money, but of ideas, influence, favor, clarity, and divine backing. This is the kind of shift that lifts generations, not just individuals, the kind that rewrites lineage, the kind that breaks cycles. I've witnessed moments like this unfold in my own journey. Times when one act of obedience opened 10 unexpected doors. When one quiet prayer shifted an entire season. When one divine encounter turned lack into overflow. And the same God who did it for me is doing it for you now. Your spirit already knows this. That's why the old mindset feels uncomfortable now. That's why old environments feel too small. That's why conversations that once satisfied now leave you restless. You are outgrowing who you were because you are becoming who you were always meant to be. Anointed one, abundance is not coming to make you comfortable. It is coming to make you effective, to position you as a pillar in places where others crumble, to establish you as a vessel of generosity, wisdom, and kingdom impact. And this journey from nothing to abundance begins the moment you accept that you were never meant to stay where you started. Chosen one, pause here. Let this settle in your spirit. Chosen one, as you step deeper into this revelation, I want you to feel the weight of what heaven is unfolding around you. There are seasons in life when everything feels painfully quiet, when it seems like your prayers bounce off the walls and the promises spoken over you remain suspended in a realm you cannot touch. I know that silence intimately, not as a theory, but as a lived experience. There were moments in my own walk where the stillness felt like abandonment, where waiting felt like punishment, where the future seemed too foggy to trust. But what I learned, and what I tell you now with absolute conviction, is that heaven's silence is never absence. Silence is strategy. Silence is preparation. Silence is God tightening the foundations of your spirit so you will not crumble when elevation arrives. And chosen one, your elevation is no longer a distant possibility. It is rising like dawn. The shift happening around you is too precise, too consistent, too spiritually aligned to be coincidence. Heaven has begun rearranging the pieces of your life in ways you may not fully recognize yet. You might see small changes, a new idea that won't leave you, resources that once seemed unreachable. They are pulling you toward relationships, environments, and opportunities that match the future God has prepared for you. And this future, hear me clearly, is not small. It is not survival. It is not scraping by. It is abundance with assignment, prosperity with purpose, wealth infused with wisdom. You've sensed for a long time that you were meant for more. Even on days when you felt unworthy, unprepared, or overwhelmed, there was a quiet knowing inside you that refused to die. That knowing was heaven refusing to let you settle. It was the Spirit tugging on your destiny, stretching your vision beyond what your circumstances could confirm. You weren't imagining it. You weren't exaggerating it. You were discerning it. Because chosen ones always feel the next chapter before it arrives. And as you shift into this new chapter, I want you to understand why your past looked the way it did. The struggles that nearly broke you weren't signs of failure, they were signs of calling. Every place where you had to fight, every moment where you felt small, every season where resources dried up, those were not markers of abandonment. They were indicators of preparation. Heaven was shaping your capacity, teaching you how to trust in lack so you could steward abundance without losing yourself. Teaching you how to hear God when the world is loud so you can follow Him when the stakes are high. Teaching you how to stand alone so you will not crumble when influence increases. Chosen one, nothing God builds on sand survives, but everything He builds on stone becomes unshakable. You have been carved into stone through seasons of stretching surrender and quiet obedience. And now that foundation is ready to support something far bigger than you once imagined. You are stepping into a season where ideas will flow with unusual clarity, where opportunities will come in waves, where connections will appear as if out of thin air. But these are not coincidences, they are assignments. Heaven is not merely blessing you, heaven is positioning you. You are being positioned to carry wealth that does not corrupt influence, that does not inflate ego and authority, that does not need applause. The billionaire journey heaven is placing before you is not about chasing riches. It is about stewarding resources for divine impact. It is about funding visions, uplifting communities, breaking generational cycles, and standing as a pillar of supernatural provision in a world drowning in scarcity mindsets. Your rise will not be accidental. It will be intentional. And because it is intentional, every part of your past makes sense now. I know what it feels like to look back and wonder why you had to walk through certain valleys, why some people betrayed you, why opportunities slipped through your hands, why doors didn't open sooner. But with time, I began to see that every painful moment was laying the groundwork for purpose. Had some doors opened earlier, LD have walked into them unprepared. Had certain relationships stayed, they would have sabotaged the next season. Had I received abundance before I understood stewardship, I would have wasted what I was meant to multiply and chosen. When I see that same truth resting over your life, you weren't being denied, you were being developed. You weren't being overlooked, you were being observed by heaven for readiness. And now your readiness is speaking louder than your wounds. Your faith is speaking louder than your doubt. Your calling is speaking louder than your circumstances. This is why the atmosphere around you has shifted. This is why your spirit feels expectant. This is why your vision is expanding, even if your environment has not yet caught up. Chosen one, abundance is drawing near. Not because you chased it, but because you became the kind of vessel heaven can trust with it. Chosen one, as this revelation deepens, I want you to pay attention to something that most people overlook. Before heaven releases abundance, it releases awareness. Before wealth arrives in the natural, it awakens in the spirit. And whether you fully realize it or not, something inside you has already begun to shift. Your mind is expanding. Your vision is stretching. Your spirit is leaning forward as if anticipating something you cannot yet name. That inner pull is not imagination, it is invitation. It is heaven drawing you into alignment with what has already been written about you. There is a reason you never fit into environments where complacency ruled. There is a reason you always felt out of place in circles that celebrated mediocrity. There is a reason you could never accept a life that was merely predictable or ordinary. Even when you tried to shrink yourself to blend in, your spirit resisted. Even when you tried to settle for less, something inside you refused to rest. That restlessness was divine. It was the imprint of destiny, reminding you that you were never called to stay small. You were called to rise. You were called to build. You were called to steward abundance that carries purpose far beyond your personal comfort. And chosen one, I want to speak to the part of you that has doubted whether you are truly worthy of this calling. Many who carry great callings also carry great insecurity. Many who are anointed feel unqualified. Many who are destined feel delayed. I know that feeling. I've lived through seasons where my own reflection felt like a contradiction, where the promise of greatness inside me clashed violently with the limitations of my circumstances. I asked God, why me? Why give me a vision so big when my reality feels so small? And the answer came not in a loud declaration, but in a gentle whisper, because I put something in you that will not allow you to die in the place you started. That same truth rests on you, chosen one. Heaven placed something uncontainable in your spirit, a blueprint, a calling, a mantle, and no amount of adversity has been able to extinguish it. You've been stretched, refined, broken, rebuilt, shaken and strengthened, but you have never been destroyed. That resilience is supernatural. That resilience is evidence that the mantle on your life is real. There are people who look at your situation and see lack, but heaven looks at you and sees foundation. There are people who see your mistakes, but heaven sees your maturation. There are people who see your delays, but heaven sees your development. Everything you've walked through has been shaping the kind of leader who can carry abundance without being crushed by it. Because chosen one, the journey from nothing to abundance is not just about acquiring wealth. It is about becoming someone who can steward it. Think back to the days when you struggled quietly, to the nights when you wondered if breakthrough would ever come, to the seasons where you had to stretch one blessing into many, where you had to build hope out of scraps, where you had to walk by faith when nothing made sense. Those were not just hardships, they were training grounds. They sharpened your discernment. They strengthened your patience. They purified your motives. They taught you how to depend on God instead of depending on people. They forged a character that abundance will later protect. And now, chosen one, you are standing at the edge of a spiritual shift so profound that your life will not look the same in the coming seasons. Not because of luck, not because of chance, but because heaven has acknowledged your preparation. Abundance is not simply attracted to desire. It is attracted to readiness. And you, through struggle, through surrender, through tears, through perseverance, have become ready. I want to share something deeply personal with you. There was a time in my life when I prayed for overflow, not realizing that overflow requires structure, not realizing that blessings expand whatever they touch, including weaknesses. When God withheld certain blessings from me, I thought it was rejection, but later I realized it was protection. Had He given me too much too soon, I would have lost what I was not yet equipped to manage. When I look back, I am grateful for every delay that frustrated me, because those delays built the wisdom I would desperately need later. Chosen one, your delays have been doing the same. They have been building wisdom, resilience, maturity, discipline, and humility. And these are the very qualities that make you trustworthy in heaven's eyes. The supernatural transfer that is unfolding over your life requires someone who can act with intention, someone who can hear divine instruction, someone who doesn't crumble under pressure or bend under the weight of expectation. You have become that person. Even if you don't fully see it yet, heaven does. And now the alignment has begun. The shift has started. Pieces are moving that you cannot see but will soon experience. There will be divine conversations about you in rooms you have never entered. There will be favor released through people who do not even know your name yet. There will be opportunities that require no striving, only stepping. It will feel sudden, but it will be the result of years of spiritual preparation converging at once. Chosen one abundance is not coming to overwhelm you. It is coming to elevate you, not to inflate your pride, but to fulfill your purpose. Not to give you comfort alone, but to give you capacity, a bigger table, a wider reach, a deeper impact. The billionaire journey heaven is initiating is not measured in money. It is measured in influence, responsibility, and legacy. And legacy requires a heart that has been refined, which yours has. This is why heaven has chosen you. This is why the warfare was so intense. This is why the stretching felt endless. Not because you were weak, but because your calling is weighty. And now, chosen one, your spirit is rising to meet the magnitude of what is coming. Chosen one, as we continue, I want you to understand something that many never discern in their lifetime. There is a moment in every destiny where heaven stops whispering and begins positioning. A moment when what once felt like vague hope becomes sharp clarity. A moment when the anointing on your life stops being a quiet internal stirring and becomes a visible external shift. You are standing in that moment now. The ground beneath you is not the same ground you walked on last year. The atmosphere around you is not the same atmosphere that surrounded you in past seasons. Something has broken open. Something has been released, and your spirit knows it, even before your mind catches up. Chosen one, the transition from nothing to abundance rarely looks like a clean upward climb. Before the rise, there is always a rupture. Before the blessing, a breaking. Before the elevation, a deep inner excavation, where God removes what once kept you anchored to smallness. I know this because I've walked through it myself. There was a point in my journey where I felt like every foundation I depended on was crumbling. Plans fell apart. Relationships dissolved. Resources ran thin. I felt stripped not just of comfort, but of identity. And yet, looking back, I realized I wasn't being diminished. I was being reshaped. What felt like loss was actually liberation. What felt like destruction was preparation. I was being freed from everything too small for my destiny. You chosen one have experienced the same sacred dismantling. There are things you've lost that were never meant to carry your future. There are people who left because they could not walk at the pace your purpose required. There are opportunities that slipped away because they were beneath your calling. Do not mourn what was removed. Heaven was clearing the table for something greater, something heavier, something shaped with your name etched into it long before your first breath. And yet even now, I know there's a part of you that wonders if you truly have what it takes. The shift ahead feels big. The responsibility feels weighty. The doors opening look intimidating, but chosen one, hear this from someone who has stood where you are standing. The fact that God is elevating you now is proof that He has already evaluated you. Heaven never promotes accidentally. Heaven promotes intentionally. If the door is opening, it is because you are ready, even if you still feel like you're not. I remember the first time I stepped into a room I once prayed to enter. I expected to feel triumphant. Instead, I felt unworthy. Imposter syndrome tried to convince me that favor had found the wrong person. But the longer I walked with God, the more I realized something profound. We are rarely promoted when we feel ready. We are promoted when we have been made ready. Readiness is forged in seasons of obscurity, not visibility. And chosen one, you have endured many hidden seasons. Seasons where you cried in silence, yet kept going. Seasons where you supported others, even when you had nothing left inside you. Seasons where you stayed faithful while your own prayers felt unanswered. Those moments were your training. That perseverance was your preparation. Heaven takes note of what the world overlooks. This is why the supernatural transfer coming to you is unlike anything you've seen before. It isn't a random burst of luck. It is the honor placed on those who stayed obedient when obedience felt costly, on those who gave even when it felt like they had nothing to give, on those who believed even when belief felt heavy. You have passed spiritual tests that would have broken others. You have carried assignments that drained you yet did not destroy you. You have walked through valleys where demons attacked your mind, yet hope refused to die within you. That is evidence of calling. That is proof of anointing. And now, chosen one, something extraordinary is unfolding around you. Connections are forming in the unseen. Favor is gathering momentum like a wave preparing to break. Resources, ideas, strategies, and people are converging in ways you could never orchestrate on your own. Heaven is not asking you to chase. Heaven is bringing alignment to you. The blessing coming your way will arrive not because you fought for validation or forced your way into rooms, but because the divine hand is guiding destiny toward your feet. You may begin to notice small signs, sudden clarity, unexpected inspiration, subtle confirmations, timely conversations. Do not dismiss them. These are indicators that your spirit is stepping into a higher frequency, a new dimension of awareness where you no longer move from desperation, but from discernment. Chosen one, the billionaire journey heaven is awakening within you is not about greed. It is about governance. It is about raising someone who can steward wealth with wisdom, influence with humility, and purpose with courage. Money is only a tool. The real treasure is transformation of you, of your lineage, of every life touched, by the impact you will carry. Heaven is not blessing you for you alone. Heaven is blessing you so you can build, uplift, restore, and activate what others believed was impossible. You are entering not just a new chapter, but a new identity. One where you walk with spiritual authority. One where you carry divine strategy. One where you rise not because you chased elevation, but because you were chosen for it. Chosen one. As we continue walking through this divine unfolding, I want you to recognize something sacred about the season you are stepping into. Abundance is not simply arriving, it is awakening. And this awakening is not happening around you first, it is happening within you. Before God increases your resources, He increases your revelation. Before He expands your territory, He expands your internal capacity to hold what He is about to place in your hands. Because the rise you are being called into is not ordinary. It is generational. It is transformational. It is the kind of elevation that shifts not just your life, but the lives of those who come after you. Chosen one. Take a moment and reflect on how your thinking has changed in recent months. There were times when even imagining abundance felt unrealistic. Times when wealth seemed like something reserved for others but not for you. And yet now there is a new boldness rising in your spirit. You have begun to dream differently. You have begun to believe differently. You have begun to expect differently. That shift didn't come from motivational words. It came from divine alignment. When God prepares a chosen one for elevation, He first breaks the ceiling in their mind. He dismantles the lies, the limits, the generational beliefs that once convinced them they were meant to struggle. You have felt those lies cracking one by one. I know this deeply because I have lived it. There was a moment in my own journey where God challenged me to stop praying like a survivor and start praying like an heir. To stop approaching life as though I was begging for crumbs and begin approaching it as though I was stepping into inheritance. When that revelation took root, everything changed, not instantly, but internally. I began to see that my prayers were too small for the destiny God had written and chosen one. The same is true for you. Abundance has always been part of your spiritual blueprint. Wealth has always been part of your assignment. Influence has always been part of your calling. Heaven is simply reminding you of what has been yours all along. But hear this clearly. Abundance is not just about what flows to you. It's about what flows through you. The supernatural transfer you are being prepared for is not meant to sit stagnant. It is meant to move, to bless, to build, to break chains, to shift systems, to release freedom where captivity has lingered. This is why your heart has been refined. This is why your motives have been purified. This is why the path to this moment has felt longer and harder than you expected. Heaven wasn't just preparing a blessing, heaven was preparing you. Chosen one, the greatness inside you has always been too large for the places you tried to fit into. That tension you felt growing up, that internal sense that you were meant for something more, that was destiny speaking, that was purpose whispering, that was heaven marking you long before you understood what the mark meant. And now all those inner stirrings, all those quiet nudges, all those moments where you felt like you didn't belong, they are beginning to make sense. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to break through. And breakthrough does not always begin with thunder. Sometimes breakthrough begins in the small decisions you make every day. The decision to speak life when negativity feels easier. The decision to honor God in private even when no one is watching. The decision to show integrity in rooms where compromise would have been rewarded. The decision to keep walking when quitting would have felt more comfortable. These daily choices, these quiet acts of obedience, form the spiritual infrastructure that now qualifies you for overflow. Chosen one, I want to share another personal truth with you, one I rarely speak about. Before God elevated me in a visible way, He elevated me in an invisible one. He started increasing my ideas, my discipline, my wisdom, my clarity. I began to wake up with strategies I couldn't explain. Solutions came to me in moments when my mind felt tired. Doors opened that made no earthly sense. That is the nature of supernatural transfer. It begins as divine insight before it becomes divine increase. Pay attention to the insights coming to you now. Heaven is releasing instruction as a precursor to wealth. And there is something else happening around you that you may not fully see yet. People are starting to recognize the anointing you carry. Opportunities are gravitating toward you because spiritual authority is becoming visible on you. It's not arrogance, it's assignment. Chosen ones don't ask for a spotlight. The spotlight follows them because heaven shines through them. You are beginning to carry an atmosphere that shifts rooms, and you've likely already noticed subtle signs of this. People listening more closely when you speak, people seeking your insight, people sensing peace around you even when you haven't said a word. These are indicators that your spiritual influence has already increased. But chosen one, hear me closely. The rise ahead will require you to trust God on a deeper level than you ever have before. There will be moments where the path feels uncertain, where the blessing feels too big, where the responsibility feels overwhelming. And in those moments, you must remember something vital: you were chosen because you can handle it. Heaven never places weight where there is no foundation. The very struggles you survived have become the pillars that will now support abundance. You are stepping into a level of prosperity, purpose, and influence that your younger self could not have imagined. And yet your spirit recognizes it because this was written about you long before you could dream it. Chosen one, prepare your heart, prepare your minds, prepare your hands. Something holy is unfolding and you are at the center of it. Chosen one, as this divine journey unfolds, there is something essential you must understand about the shift taking place in your life. Abundance is not simply approaching you, it is converging with you. It is meeting you at the exact intersection of preparation, surrender, and spiritual maturity. This is why certain doors remained closed before, not because you were unworthy, but because your capacity had not yet aligned with your calling. There is a profound difference between wanting abundance and being ready to steward it. Many desire the overflow, but few are willing to endure the refinement required to sustain it. You, chosen one, have endured that refinement. You have walked through seasons that stripped away illusion, healed old wounds, and reshaped your inner world. Those seasons were not punishments. They were promotions in disguise, building muscles in your spirit that comfort could never have produced. I say this because I have lived through similar refining fires. There were times when I questioned why God allowed certain losses or delays. I wondered why I had to navigate valleys that seemed endless while others appeared to rise effortlessly. But over time, I realized something deeply liberating. Elevation without preparation becomes destruction, and preparation without clarity feels like suffering. Yet both are necessary to build a vessel capable of carrying abundance without collapsing under the weight of it. The same is true for you, anointed one. Every moment you thought was breaking you was actually shaping you. Every disappointment that felt like a setback was secretly opening space for something better. Every relationship that faded was clearing room for divine connections. And every prayer you whispered in exhaustion was watering seeds that are now beginning to sprout in unseen places. You may not have recognized it then, but heaven began increasing your internal strength long before it began increasing your external resources. You learned to endure, to discern, to release, to rebuild, to trust. These qualities form the spiritual infrastructure required for the supernatural transfer assigned to this next season of your life. Chosen one another. Part of this journey involves the subtle ways heaven begins to stretch you. You might find yourself thinking bigger, dreaming differently, or desiring more alignment. You may notice old habits losing their grip, old environments feeling too small, or old mindsets no longer fitting who you are becoming. This inner stretching is sacred evidence that transformation has begun. You are outgrowing who you are, making space for who you are called to be. Part of this expansion involves embracing divine confidence. Not arrogance, not self-inflation, but the deep knowing that God does not elevate by accident. If you feel the pull toward bigger territory, it is because heaven has already assigned it to you. If you feel a stirring for wealth, impact, influence, or expansion, it is because you are being positioned to steward these things with integrity, compassion, and purpose. Heaven entrusts abundance to those who will turn it into legacy, not luxury alone. And chosen one, your life is already reflecting this truth. Think about the moments recently where wisdom rose in you unexpectedly. Think of the clarity that snapped into place, the opportunities that appeared without striving, the peace that settled over you, even when circumstances were uncertain. These are not coincidences. These are signs that you have entered a new spiritual frequency. One where things flow because you no longer fight them. One where provision finds you because you are aligned, not anxious. I want you to know this deeply. You are not stepping into abundance alone. Heaven is partnering with you. The same God who carried you through your lowest valleys will accompany you into your highest mountains. You will not be overwhelmed by the rise because you have been prepared for it, strengthened for it, refined for it. There is a maturity in your spirit now that was not there before. A steadiness that keeps you grounded even as elevation approaches. And perhaps the most beautiful part of this journey is understanding that abundance does not change who you are. It reveals who you have always been. A giver, a builder, a leader, a restorer, someone who carries the ability to influence atmospheres and transform lives, not through force, but through presence. Someone heaven can trust with resources that require responsibility, wisdom, and compassion. Chosen one, you are stepping into a season where you will not simply manage blessings, you will multiply them. You will not just receive opportunities, you will recognize divine assignments. You will not just walk into rooms, you will shift the atmosphere within them. This is the kind of abundance heaven is preparing you for. one that aligns wealth with purpose and favor with calling. Your steps are guided, your spirit is ready, your time is unfolding. Chosen one, as this journey deepens, I want you to understand something that many overlook. Abundance is not a destination, it is a state of alignment. It is what happens when your inner world finally matches what heaven has spoken over your life. Too many people chase success while carrying internal patterns that sabotage it. But you have been walking through a process that has purified your motives, strengthened your character, and expanded your spiritual bandwidth. You are no longer the version of yourself who once questioned whether greatness was meant for you. You have become someone heaven can trust, with influence, responsibility, and supernatural increase. There is a quiet strength forming in you. You may feel it already. The way you respond differently to challenges, the way your discernment has sharpened, the way your priorities have shifted. Things that once triggered fear now trigger focus. Things that once distracted you now feel insignificant. This is evidence that you are moving from survival into stewardship. You are not reacting to life anymore. You are listening, perceiving, aligning. You are stepping into the role of someone who understands that destiny is not stumbled into. It is stewarded into existence. Chosen one, I want to speak directly to the part of you that has been afraid of starting over. The part of you that wonders if you have wasted too much time or missed too many opportunities or fallen too far behind. Hear this with your spirit. Nothing is wasted in the hands of God. Every delay has been discipline. Every detour has been divine instruction. Every heartbreak has revealed what could not go with you. You have not lost time. You have been gaining wisdom. You have not fallen behind. You have been building foundation. And the foundation you carry now is strong enough to hold the abundance that is entering your life. I have lived through seasons where I didn't understand why everything familiar was being stripped away. Seasons where comfort dissolved and clarity felt distant. But later I realized something vital. When God removes what is familiar, He is not trying to hurt you, He is trying to grow you. Familiarity breeds stagnation, and stagnation kills destiny. You chosen one were never meant to remain who you used to be. Your calling demanded evolution. Your purpose required transformation. And though the process has been painful at times, the fruit of that transformation is now beginning to appear. Another sign of your becoming is the way heaven has started sending you inside at unexpected moments. A sudden idea, a sudden push, a sudden knowing. Pay attention to these divine nudges. They are not random. They are strategies being uploaded into your spirit. This is how heaven prepares a chosen one for the next level. Before the doors open in the natural, revelation opens in the spirit. You may find yourself dreaming bigger without knowing why. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give supper thanks with contributions of up to $120. I pay men to get blessing 100 million. You may feel drawn to new skills, new environments, or new connections. These impulses are not accidental. They are indicators that your timeline is accelerating. And chosen one, let me tell you something deeply personal. Before my own life elevated, I experienced what I call the quiet shift. No announcements, no fireworks, just a subtle inner knowing that something had ended and something new had begun. People around me couldn't see it, but my spirit could. I felt God pulling me into a higher place. And soon after, everything around me began to rearrange, opportunities, relationships, resources, all aligning effortlessly. You are in your quiet shift now. The world may not see it yet, but heaven sees it. The shift inside you is becoming the shift around you. A vital part of this process is learning to release what no longer carries life. Not every friend, habit, or mindset can accompany you into abundance. Your calling requires a lighter load. You cannot rise while carrying weights that were never yours to hold. And although releasing can feel painful, it creates the space required for divine replacement. What leaves your life in this season is making room for what you prayed for in past seasons. Chosen one, another truth you must embrace is that wealth is not coming to overwhelm you. It is coming to empower you. It is not arriving to change who you are, but to reveal who you have always been beneath the survival mode. When you are no longer exhausting your energy trying to stay afloat, your brilliance will rise, your creativity will bloom, your compassion will deepen, and your purpose will sharpen. Abundance will not inflate you, it will free you. And here is something heaven wants you to grasp. The billionaire journey beginning in your life is not purely financial. It is SPI, ritual, mental, emotional, generational. You are becoming wealthy in wisdom, wealthy in peace, wealthy in clarity, wealthy in calling. Money will be one demonstration of your rise, but not the definition of it. What is truly coming upon you is influence, the kind that transforms you into a pillar. Others lean on a voice. Others trust a presence that shifts atmospheres. Chosen one, miracles will not feel foreign to you anymore. Favor will not surprise you. Blessings will not intimidate you. You are being shaped into someone who expects heaven to move, not because of entitlement, but because of intimacy. You walk closely with God. You hear Him. You sense Him. And this closeness is what qualifies you for supernatural elevation. You are not waiting for alignment. You are becoming alignment. And everything assigned to you is already on its way. Chosen one. There comes a moment in every divine journey when the internal breakthrough becomes louder than the external battle. You may not realize it yet, but you have reached that moment. Something in your spirit has shifted. Something in your thinking has matured. Something in your atmosphere has opened. What once drained you no longer affects you. And what once intimidated you no longer has authority. This is not casual growth. This is spiritual advancement. This is the evidence that heaven has begun moving you into a higher realm of purpose and provision. There is a reason your spirit feels both stretched and strengthened at the same time. Elevation always carries a dual sensation. The weight of becoming and the lightness of release. You are carrying both. The old version of yourself no longer fits, yet the new version is still forming. That tension you feel is not confusion, it is transformation. It is the stretching of your capacity so you can hold what is coming. It is the expansion of your inner world so abundance does not overwhelm you but flows through you. Chosen one, I want to speak to the quiet ache in your soul. The ache you rarely mention. The ache that wonders whether you're truly ready for what you've been praying for. Hear this clearly. Readiness is not about being perfect. Readiness is about being willing. And you have shown heaven your willingness again and again through your resilience, your surrender, your obedience. Even in moments when clarity felt far away, heaven responds to willingness, not perfection. That is why doors are opening for you now. Even if you still feel unsure, God is not elevating you because you have done everything flawlessly. God is elevating you because you have leaned on Him faithfully. Another sign that you are entering a season of supernatural transfer is the shift in your discernment. You are noticing what you used to overlook. You're questioning what you used to tolerate. You are sensing things before they happen. That spiritual sensitivity is not random, it is training. Heaven sharpens the vision of those who will be entrusted with wealth, influence, and kingdom responsibility. The more you elevate, the more discernment you will require. You are being calibrated to see like a leader, think like a steward, and walk like a carrier of divine authority. Chosen one, let's bring this closer to real life. There were moments in my own journey when I thought I had reached my limit emotionally, financially, spiritually. Times when I felt the weight of battles no one else could see. Yet every time I reached that breaking point, something unexpected happened. A revelation, a resource, a connection, a breakthrough. Something always appeared at the exact moment I needed it. Looking back, I understand why heaven never allowed me to collapse, because my calling had not been fulfilled. You will look back and say the same. Heaven has intervened too many times in your story for you to fail. Now, even the situations that wounded you have been repurposed. What tried to destroy your confidence has built your compassion. What tried to break your spirit has strengthened your discernment. What tried to bury you has fertilized you. You have gained depth, wisdom, emotional intelligence, spiritual awareness. All traits heaven cultivates in those chosen for abundance. If your journey had been easy, your capacity would be small. But because your path has been difficult, your capacity is enormous. And great capacity attracts great blessing. Chosen one of the biggest indicators of your new season is this. You are no longer forcing what isn't meant for you. You are no longer begging for connections that drain you. You are no longer chasing opportunities that rob your peace. You have learned that alignment matters more than attachment. And because you have released what is misaligned, heaven can now release what is ordained. When you stop trying to force your own timing, divine timing accelerates. That is why things will start unfolding quickly, effortlessly, almost without explanation. Another truth you must embrace is that supernatural transfer rarely begins with outside change. It begins with inner conviction. You have started believing differently in who you are, in what you deserve, in what is possible. That shift in belief is powerful. Before wealth enters your hands, wealth enters your mindset. Before favor surrounds your life, favor fills your vocabulary. Before abundance manifests in the natural, abundance manifests in the spirit. You have entered that manifestation. You are no longer asking if it will happen. You are preparing for when it happens. Chosen one, your spirit is awakening to something you can't yet fully explain. You feel movement before you see manifestation. You sense acceleration before you see opportunity. You perceive the promise before you touch the blessing. This is how heaven alerts those stepping into a supernatural rise. The spiritual realm always shifts before the physical realm catches up. And remember this, your journey from nothing to abundance is not accidental. It is intentional. It is orchestrated. It is prophetic. You were designed to break the patterns of limitation that existed before you. You were chosen to open doors your family never walked through. You were anointed to rewrite what your bloodline believed was possible. That is why your process has been long, but your elevation will be sudden. You are standing at the threshold of a life you once prayed for. And heaven is whispering, step forward, chosen one. Abundance is not ahead. It is already unfolding within you. Chosen one, there is a holy truth beginning to rise within you. A truth that has followed you through every valley, every closed door, every silent season. You were never being reduced, you were being refined. You were not walking through loss, you were walking through alignment. Everything that fell away was clearing space for what carries the weight of your next level. And now in this moment, your spirit feels something shifting, not around you, but inside you. That inner shift is the first sign of supernatural transfer. Heaven always transforms the vessel before it releases the overflow. You may not fully recognize it yet, but you have already outgrown the version of yourself that once felt small, timid, unsure, or unworthy. You have survived too much to doubt your strength. You have endured too much to question your purpose. You have risen too many times to underestimate your resilience. Every setback became a shaping tool. Every betrayal sharpened your discernment. Every disappointment rewired your faith. And now the anointing on your life has become too heavy to remain in old environments, old patterns, and old thinking. Chosen one, The reason you feel a spiritual stretching is because heaven is expanding your territory. Inner expansion always precedes outer elevation. You are being prepared to handle abundance without fear, wealth, without ego, influence, without compromise and promotion, without losing yourself. This is why your perspective has matured. You no longer crave validation. You no longer chase approval. You no longer bend yourself to fit into spaces you have outgrown. That freedom you feel is heaven loosening the limitations of your old identity. But let me take this deeper. One of the greatest signs that your billionaire journey has spiritually begun is this. Your relationship with struggle has changed. You no longer see hardship as punishment. You see it as preparation. You no longer see delay as denial. You see it as divine timing. You no longer see resistance as rejection. You see it as redirection. That shift in interpretation is the mark of a chosen one. It means heaven has matured your spirit to interpret life through prophetic clarity rather than emotional reaction. You are beginning to process life differently. And that difference is what qualifies you for supernatural transfer. Wealth is not given to those who merely desire it. It is entrusted to those who have been shaped for stewardship. You have been shaped. Every storm carved wisdom into your soul. Every loss carved compassion into your heart. Every endurance carved leadership into your character. You don't just want abundance. You're being sculpted into someone who can carry abundance with grace, purpose, and responsibility. Chosen one, think about how your priorities have changed. The things that once captured your attention no longer feed your spirit. The people who once distracted you no longer have access to your peace. The temptations that once pulled you backward no longer hold power over your vision. This is not coincidence. This is consecration. Heaven removes desire for what is beneath your destiny before delivering what is aligned with your calling. And yet, chosen one, there is something even more profound unfolding. You are starting to sense the presence of provision before it arrives. You are feeling the energy of increase even before it manifests. You are experiencing moments of quiet knowing and unshakable assurance that something is coming even if you cannot name it. That is spiritual alignment. That is prophetic intuition. That is heaven's whisper saying, prepare. In my own journey, I remember moments when everything seemed still on the outside, but something was roaring on the inside. I couldn't explain it logically, but I felt a momentum rising beneath the surface of my life. It felt like the season before sunrise, silent, but pregnant with promise. And when the breakthrough finally came, I realized that my spirit had sensed it long before my eyes ever saw it. You will have the same realization. Your spirit always knows before your circumstances catch up. Chosen one, let's speak truth. You have already started walking like someone who expects more. Your posture is different. Your standards are different. Your boundaries are different. You are no longer shrinking to be accepted. You are no longer dimming your light to avoid discomfort. You are no longer settling for less because you once feared more. That confidence is not arrogance. It is anointing. It is the evidence of a calling awakening inside you. You're not trying to rise, you're rising. You're not hoping for abundance. You're aligning with abundance. You're not searching for purpose. You're stepping into purpose. The shift has already begun, and the supernatural transfer that heaven has written over your life is drawing near because your spirit is finally prepared to receive what your prayers have carried for years. Chosen one, hear this with clarity. Nothing in your life has been random. Every wilderness trained you. Every limitation stretched you. Every heartbreak purified you. Heaven builds giants through seasons that feel small. And you endured your small season with integrity. That is why your large season will carry glory. And now, as this inner awakening grows stronger, understand this truth. Abundance is not coming to create your identity. It is coming to amplify the identity heaven already placed within you. You're not becoming someone in you. You're becoming someone revealed, chosen one. There comes a moment in every divine journey when the inner shift becomes so unmistakable that even your own spirit pauses in reverence. You begin to sense that the season you are stepping into carries a weight that cannot be compared to anything you have walked through before. It is not just a chapter change. It is a spiritual graduation. The atmosphere around your life begins to thicken with purpose. The ordinary starts feeling uncomfortable. The familiar starts feeling foreign. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give supper thanks with contributions of up to $120. I pay men to get blessing 100 million. And the reason is simple. Heaven is transitioning you from surviving to reigning, from scarcity to overflow, from wandering to building. You are not just moving into abundance. You are being transformed into someone who can sustain abundance without losing your soul. One of the clearest signs of this transition is the way your spirit responds to peace. Not temporary peace, not surface peace, but deep sustaining soul level peace. This peace is different because it does not depend on circumstances behaving. It comes from an inner, knowing that the hand of the Most High is arranging what you cannot see. When this peace settles, chosen one, it becomes a spiritual anchor. And when an anchor is present, storms lose their power. You begin to walk through challenges without collapsing under pressure. You begin to release burdens with greater ease. You begin to look at what once terrified you and say, I am not the same person who fought that battle the first time. This is heaven strengthening your inner structure for the weight of what is coming. Chosen one, heaven does not release abundance into instability. It releases abundance into alignment. That is why your inner world has been undergoing reconstruction. Your mindset has been rewired. Your capacity has been stretched. Your resilience has been fortified. And your discernment has been sharpened. These internal upgrades are not accidental. They are evidence that a supernatural wealth shift is drawing near. Abundance is built inside you before it manifests around you. But let's walk into something deeper. Many of the situations you once prayed to escape were actually part of your spiritual apprenticeship. When doors closed, you learned adaptability. When people left, you learned self-trust. When resources ran low, you learned creativity and stewardship. These experiences were not setbacks. They were divine classrooms. And you passed tests you did not even realize you were taking. You learned how to be faithful with little. You learned how to endure without applause. You learned how to hope without evidence. And in heaven's economy, those lessons are worth more than gold. They qualify you for what others are not prepared to carry. As someone who has walked through seasons of uncertainty, I know what it feels like when your prayers seem to echo back in silence. I know the weight of waiting for answers that refuse to arrive on your timetable. I know the tension of believing for more while living with less. But chosen one, I also learned something sacred in those seasons. Heaven speaks the loudest through preparation. And the moment you stop resisting the process is the moment the process transforms you. I realized that the silence was not abandonment. It was shaping. The delay was not punishment. It was positioning. And the struggle was not a sign of rejection. It was a sign of selection. You are experiencing the same truth now. Heaven is not withholding from you. Heaven is preparing the fullness of what belongs to you. Chosen one, you've also noticed how your relationship with fear has changed. Fear used to paralyze you. Now it signals that something significant is approaching. Fear used to define your limits. Now it exposes the boundaries heaven is expanding. Fear used to make you shrink. Now it reminds you that you are stepping into unfamiliar territory because you are no longer meant to live a familiar life. That shift is not psychological. It is spiritual. Heaven has been teaching you to walk by revelation, not reaction. To move by vision, not validation. To follow conviction, not convenience. These are the spiritual muscles of someone stepping into abundance with purpose. Another confirmation that the billionaire journey has begun within you is the way you now view opportunity. You no longer chase everything that glitters. You wait for what aligns with your assignment. You no longer attach yourself to people out of fear. You connect with people through discernment. You no longer desire to be seen. You desire to be positioned. And this maturity is heaven's way of protecting the treasure being prepared for your hands. Chosen one, let me tell you something many never understand. Abundance is not just money. It is clarity, peace, wisdom, influence, strategy, creativity, and supernatural help flowing together at the right time. When heaven releases abundance, it releases it holistically. And that is what is happening to you. Your mind is becoming sharper. Your instincts are becoming bolder. Your vision is becoming clearer. Your faith is becoming stronger. You are not just preparing for wealth. You are becoming someone who can transform wealth into impact. And here is the greatest truth of this moment. You are closer than you think. The atmosphere around your life is shifting. Doors are loosening. Opportunities are gathering. People are being assigned. Heaven is aligning timelines, conversations, ideas, and resources on your behalf. What once seemed impossible is now within reach, because the version of you standing here today is finally aligned with the future that once terrified you. Chosen one, abundance is no longer coming, it is approaching, and your spirit can feel it. Chosen one, there is a quiet awakening happening inside you, an awakening so subtle that at first, we may have mistaken it for restlessness. But this is not restlessness, this is recognition. Your spirit is beginning to identify the season it has been prepared for. The old rhythms of your life no longer fit because you are no longer who you were. What once satisfied you now feels too small. What once intimidated you now feels conquerable. What once confused you now begins to make sense. This inner clarity is not accidental. It is evidence that heaven is synchronizing your steps with your next level. You may have noticed that your desires have shifted. Not worldly desires, but holy ones. You crave peace more than attention. You value alignment more than approval. You prioritize purpose over convenience. These desires are divine signals. They mark the moment when heaven begins entrusting greater assignments to a chosen one. Before elevation can happen around you, it must first be embraced within you. And chosen one, you have embraced it. Even in moments you didn't realize you were saying yes to transformation. There is a sacred truth you must understand. Heaven never releases abundance into hands that still tremble from insecurity. It releases abundance into hands that have learned to trust, to surrender, to stand firm even when outcomes are uncertain. You have learned all of these. Every season of stretching strengthened your grip. Every season of pruning sharpened your clarity. Every season of waiting refined your motives. Now you no longer desire abundance for validation. You desire it for impact. That shift is what heaven was waiting for. Let me share something personal. When I was in my own wilderness season, I often asked why doors refused to open. I questioned my readiness. I questioned my anointing. I questioned whether I misheard God. But over time, I realized something that changed everything. Doors remained closed, not because I lacked faith, but because I lacked capacity. I was praying for abundance while thinking like a survivor. I was asking for elevation while clinging to old versions of myself. Heaven was not saying no. Heaven was saying not yet. When this revelation became real to me, I recognized that inner transformation is not a punishment, it is preparation. And chosen one, you are now living in that same preparation turned activation. The evidence is in the way you think differently. You no longer default to fear. You no longer crumble beneath pressure. You no longer internalize rejection. Instead, you observe, you discern, you adjust, and you keep moving. This is the mind of someone stepping into supernatural transfer. Another sign of your transition is the way heaven has been rearranging your relationships. Some people drifted away without explanation. Others became distant. New faces appeared unexpectedly. Connections you once relied on dissolve, while divine alignments quietly form. At first, you may have felt grief or confusion, but chosen one here, this heaven will never allow the wrong voices to accompany you into why? Our place of abundance. Separation is not sabotage, it is protection. Every person removed from your life was removed with intention. Every person sent into your life was sent on assignment. And now, heaven is surrounding you with individuals who speak life, not fear. People who challenge your growth, not undermine it. People who carry wisdom, not chaos. These alignments are prophetic indicators that the billionaire journey you are stepping into is not meant to be walked alone. Heaven assigns teams to those entrusted with impact, chosen one. Perhaps the greatest indicator that your season is shifting is the newfound boldness rising within you. You feel more courageous, more decisive, more focused, not because circumstances have become easier, but because your spirit has become stronger. You no longer waste energy convincing others of your calling. You no longer dilute your vision to comfort those unwilling to grow. You no longer apologize for dreaming big. This inner courage is not personality, it is anointing. It is evidence that heaven has activated something ancient, powerful, and undeniable within you. And let this truth settle. Deep abundance is attracted to alignment. When your inner world aligns with heaven's intention, the outer world begins to rearrange itself accordingly. Ideas become opportunities. Opportunities become open doors. Open doors become divine assignments. Divine assignments become legacy. You are standing at the beginning of that unfolding. Chosen one. Everything in your life has been guiding you to this moment. Not by chance, but by orchestration. The preparation is complete. The inner transformation has taken root. And now the realm of abundance is drawing near, pulled closer by the alignment of your spirit. You are not hoping for a shift. You are living inside one chosen one. As you step into this final unfolding of the message, I want you to pause for a moment and become aware of what is rising within you right now. This sensation, this quiet fire, this expanding clarity, this steady inner conviction is not imagination. It is alignment. It is the internal confirmation that heaven has been preparing you, not just to witness breakthrough, but to embody it. You are entering a season where what once felt distant will begin drawing itself toward you with supernatural ease. Not because life suddenly became fair, but because you finally became aligned with who you were always meant to be. There is something holy happening beneath the surface of your emotions. You can feel it in the way your spirit leans forward. You can sense it in the way your thoughts have gained new depth. You can perceive it in the way your heart no longer settles for what drains you or diminishes you. These are not small changes, they are prophetic signs that your inner world has shifted into readiness. And chosen one, when readiness meets timing, miracles manifest effortlessly. You've spent years pouring out energy, trying to force open doors. But now you're learning that the doors assigned to you do not require force. They require transformation. You are stepping into the version of yourself who no longer knocks anxiously, but walks confidently. You are becoming the one who recognizes that what is yours cannot be withheld. This is the spiritual maturity heaven has been cultivating within you. The waiting wasn't for the blessing to be built, it was for you to be built. And in this new spiritual maturity, you've begun to adopt habits that reflect elevation. You guard your peace more fiercely. You choose solitude over noise. You prioritize authenticity over appearance. You nurture visions instead of distractions. These are choices made not from fear, but from clarity. You are no longer trying to prove yourself. You are preparing yourself. And heaven honors preparation. Chosen one, understand this deeply. Abundance is not coming to rescue you. It is coming to reflect you. It is coming because you have reached a spiritual frequency where overflow can finally land without being lost, misused, or misunderstood. You are becoming a trusted steward of divine provision. And that is why heaven is positioning you for the kind of wealth that does not merely fill bank accounts, but transforms bloodlines. But before abundance arrives externally, it always arrives internally. And your inner abundance is already visible. It shows in your renewed hope. It shows in your stability. It shows in your willingness to forgive. Let go. Start again and dream bigger. Hope is wealth. Clarity is wealth. Wisdom is wealth. Peace is wealth. You have already stepped into abundance long before money or opportunity ever reaches your hands. What's coming to you now is simply the physical reflection of a spiritual reality that has already taken root and chosen one. Let's address something that many are afraid to say out loud. You are tired, not weak tired, but destiny tired. The kind of tiredness that appears when someone has carried dreams far too heavy for one season, fought battles too big for one person, and held on to faith longer than most would. But heaven sees that exhaustion, and instead of condemning it, heaven honors it. The tired chosen one is the one on the edge of transfiguration. The tired chosen one is the one who has finally laid down their own strength long enough to receive divine strength. Do not mistake exhaustion for defeat. It is the final contraction before birth. And now, the divine timing you have been sensing is drawing into alignment with divine orchestration. Conversations are forming, people are being positioned. Resources are shifting hands. Opportunities are preparing themselves to recognize your name. You will walk into rooms where your spirit is known before your voice is heard. You will meet people who feel like answered prayers. You will encounter favor that feels too precise to be coincidence. When this happens, remember, it is not happening to you. It is happening through you. You are becoming the vessel through which heaven will produce evidence. Evidence that faith still births miracles. Evidence that surrender still unlocks provision. Evidence that chosen ones still rise from ashes into authority. Your life is about to become a signpost that points others toward hope, not because you are perfect, but because you're willing. So breathe, chosen one. Release the tension in your shoulders. Soften the fear in your chest. The journey ahead does not require striving. It requires alignment. It requires trust. It requires surrender to the truth that you are no longer waiting for destiny. You are walking inside it. Chosen one. Abundance is not an event. It is a realm, and you have finally stepped into it. Chosen one. As we close this sacred moment, receive this truth in your spirit. The transfer has already begun. Heaven has shifted on your behalf, and you are standing in your Kairos moment, the exact time written for your elevation. Walk forward with reverence, with confidence, with gratitude, knowing the Almighty has gone before you. May favor surround you, may clarity guide you, and may abundance rise to meet your steps. If this word ignited something within you, share it, speak it, or comment in faith. Until we meet again, stay aligned, stay expectant, and stay covered in divine glory. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give supper thanks with contributions of up to $120. I pay men to get blessing 100 million.